Today's Toy Spot, we are having a look at the Mattel DC Comics Multiverse Batman vs. Clayface box set. In this box, you get a repaint of the original DC Comics Multiverse Batman from Arkham City, but you also get an exclusive Clayface and a jail cell. Very, very cool, and actually, surprisingly, I didn't think these were going to be available in Canada. Turned out I went to my local Toys R Us, now new local Toys R Us, because Spots changed locations, and they had it. How about that? They had this, and they had the Solomon Grundy, so I was able to pick up both. Side of the package features some artwork from Batman Arkham City, a little cooler than, sadly, the figure is going to end up looking, but needless to say. The jail cell also is a very interesting and nicely received touch that they would actually include that, as opposed to just getting the figure on its own. Spin around the side of the package is a repaint costume that's in Arkham City. And spin it around again, we have that same artwork of Batman on the one side and really creepy artwork of Clayface on the other. You can see how the cell is going to work, and I'll show you guys more when you get this open out of packaging, but you essentially only get one floor piece and then one side to the cell. However, if you take the other figures, and the only one I didn't see there was Killer Croc and Nightwing, but if you take the other three figures, you could theoretically connect them into a tri-side display. Basically, the only thing that would be missing is the back side of the cell, but you would get all three sides. So that's kind of cool. Of course, as mentioned, the other figures are Batman and Clayface that we're looking at today, Batman and Solomon Grundy, and then we have Killer Croc and Nightwing. This comes to us from the folks over at Mattel. You can go to www.mattel.com. Spot's going to take a break and get this opened up, and when we come back, boy, oh boy, we're going to have a look at the DC Comics Multiverse Batman vs. Clayface box set. There's more heading your way, guys. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Okay, so when you guys get this out of packaging, you're going to have two pieces. You're going to have the main cell, which the bars are slightly warped, likely due to Clayface. And you're going to get the floorboard, a little floor base. The floor itself actually is pretty decent. Take point A, take point B, connect them two together, and apply a little bit of pressure just to tab everything in place there. And you've got yourself a cell. Batman would be able to stand on the one side of the cell, and then of course you could take Clayface and put Clayface on the other side. Some caution to Batman, the fact that the bars, as warped as they are, pretty sure you shouldn't be so, standing so close to the cell. At least Mattel gave us a display. I mean, it's very often that you don't get this kind of stuff with figures. Usually they'll just give you the figures themselves. You don't get some extra stuff going on. So I appreciate the fact that they would give you this. You can see also too, there's a little connector point at the top there, and there's also a hole slot on the other side there. So that's where the other piece is. And I'll show you guys this when we eventually get the other pieces together, how all three will form, and then you'll have a full display. But in the meantime, we'll grab the cell here and just kind of move it to the side as we have a look at the figures that come included with the set. First things first is we have Batman. He's okay. He's not horrible, but by that same token, he's not also a fantastic figure either. He utilizes the same Batman figure that I believe we've already gotten before in a multiverse treatment. It was probably, I almost want to even say it was like the Arkham Asylum Batman that we got from the multiverse, probably like Wave 1. Now that figure would have been more darker in color. Also his cowl and cape would have not been blue, so this gives us a more comic version of Batman. I like this. This isn't so bad. I also like that he's got a cloth cape. The one thing I'm not super crazy about is his head. I don't know why Mattel continues to do this, but they give us this very long, squished Batman head. Proportionately, I feel like his head should be a little wider, but instead you get this long, stretched, squishy head. If not for that, I think the figure could be pretty good. It's just a shame it gets kind of ruined by the fact that his head gets squished. The rest of the body is decent. It works with the comic colors. He's got a big Batman emblem on his chest as well. He has a hand suitable for holding objects, though this Batman doesn't come with anything. But cape is decent. He's got a nice yellow utility belt. I like it. Just not crazy on the head. When it comes to his articulation, Batman's head does swivel left and right. Arms hinge out, which is a nice touch. I like that. There is no rotation in the bicep or anything like that, but he does have a hinge in the elbow and a swivel in the hand. When you get moving further down, he does have a swivel in the waist, and his legs go forward, back, and quite a bit out, I might add. Swivel in the thigh and a bend at the knee. There's Batman. Truthfully, I do like this one better than I like the original Batman. The original Batman, Arkham Asylum's not a bad game. I just don't like figures for those even like DC Collectibles. DC Collectibles or DC Direct back in the day. Just wasn't crazy with the figures that they were releasing for Arkham Asylum. This Batman is okay. He just could have done better by not having a big squishy head. There's something about it I'm just not crazy about. His head just seems longer than what it should be. He has like a 6 head as opposed to a 4 head. But still, Batman, not bad. I'm going to give him a 6. Moving along. I kind of feel bad that I gave him a 6. He could probably truthfully get a little higher, but I'll stick it out with a 6. Moving along, though, we have also Clayface. I'll bring the camera back a little bit because Clayface is so much bigger. And bigger, that is an understatement. I mean, look at the size of Clayface, if he's willing to stand, versus Batman. He would be about 2.5 Batmans tall. The figure is great. Big fan of Clayface, so obviously this was a figure I really wanted to get. He does things fairly well. I think he's a very clean and well-sculpted figure. I guess my only real glaring problem is he seems really large down in the lower torso. I don't know if it's just me. I feel like it could have maybe even been to about there, but they've given him some extra stuff. Extra clay. Another problem that he slightly has is the fact that he doesn't have articulated ankles. So his feet are kind of arched this way, so you have to kind of adjust for that by having the legs further bent. It's not a bad. It still succeeds, and he doesn't have too much of a tough time standing. He doesn't have peg holes on the undersides of his feet, so it's not like you could really give him a display stand. Face is good. A little bit smaller in the face, but it kind of gives him that overall mass to the rest of his body. I guess really, his head is give or take about the same size as Batman's head, just a little bit wider. Paint is very nice. He's got a couple of different colors, more like a caramel color for the most of his body. He's got a darker brown, kind of just bringing out some accents. One hand is clawed, the other hand is just, he just has a fist. But if you so wish, what you can also do too, is he has a mallet, a little mallet club. And what you can do is you can take the Clayface and just kind of grab his fist here, and you have to wiggle it off. And I say wiggling it off, it's not an easy task, let me tell you. It would also help if Spot pulls the hand off the right hand, or the correct arm. Turns out it's actually not this arm, it's this arm right here. Take the mallet and just kind of wiggle it in place. Pops in, just like that. And you've got the mallet hand. I kind of feel like I would prefer if the mallet, and that's maybe one of the reasons why I wanted to put it on this arm. This arm has a much bigger peg, so even if you were to eventually pull this hand off, this I don't think would fit in this hand. I do like this open kind of claw hand though, so that's my logic for I kind of wish that this was over here, or you could put it over there and keep the claw hand on this side. But it is a much smaller peg, so I don't think you could actually take this and put this over here. But there you have Clayface with a big club mallet. This might very well be your preferred look. I'm not really sure. I kind of still dig the open claw as opposed to the mallet. But you just take the mallet, once again, just unpeg it, Just like that. It's not easy, let me tell you. And then just peg this hand into place, and there you go. For the rest of his articulation, he has, surprisingly, a swivel in the head, which initially, when I got out of packaging, I thought the head was going to just be a sculpt piece to the torso, but his head actually does swivel. He does have very nice articulation in the shoulders. They rotate all the way around. He has a hinge in the elbow, swivel in the wrist, swivel in the waist, and then when you get to the legs move forward and back, and for that matter, actually out as well. I mean, you can't really, you can move the legs out, but when you get them so far, that is probably as far as you could probably get him. I mean, to move him any further, he still stands, but he's obviously going to look a little more awkward. He has the swivel in the thigh, a nice bend at the knee, and as mentioned, he's got no articulation in the ankles. Really, truthfully, if between the two figures, the Batman's not bad, but the reason for getting the set is clearly the Two-Face. I also dig the cell, which there's a cell in the background there. Clayface, I am going to give Clayface here an 8.5. He's a good figure, great sculpt. I feel like he's got a little more extra junk, but as a whole, he's a great looking piece. Today's Toy Spot, there we go. Today we're having a look at the Mattel DC Comics Multiverse. There we go. We're having a look at a repainted Batman and a very cool Clayface. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have more videos heading your way. Thanks for watching, as you always do. I'll see you next time.